Here we go.
Yeah. Wow.
Well, hey everybody, I'm Bill with Live Simple, Live Free, and I'm going to get this woodshed done before the weather starts to close in so I can get my wood and get all stocked up for the winter. Now, I did a video recently where I showed that I removed a yard faucet that was in the way of where I wanted to do the woodshed. What I want to do is put the woodshed right up here against the house. It's going to start right there at the corner, and it's going to go up this way up to the hose bib right there, which makes it about 12 feet long. It'll be 8 feet tall, and then come out about 3 feet so I can put 2 rows of wood in it. And then I'll put a metal roof on top because that eave out there is only 2 feet wide and this shed's going to be 3 feet wide. So I talked about that I wanted to put the woodshed there, and what happened next was absolutely amazing. I couldn't believe it. Actually, I guess amazing isn't the right word. I guess shocking is more like it, at least to me. You see, when the comments started to come in, the very second comment that came in said something about you don't want to put the wood near the house, you want to put it out of way. Otherwise, you're going to have problems with snakes and rodents and spiders and termites. So I thought, well, okay. I know a lot of people have phobias about snakes and bugs, so I just, chalk that up to here's somebody with a phobia about that, and that's okay, I understand. And about 2 or 3 comments later, somebody else said the same thing. If you put it near the house, you're going to get termites. I thought, huh? What are you talking about? And then, over the next day and a half, probably 25% of the comments that came in said the same thing. Don't put the wood near the house, you're going to get termites. Now, this wasn't a video about the woodshed. It was about removing that yard faucet. But the overwhelming number of comments about the yard faucet was, don't put the wood near the house. Well, I have to say, I absolutely disagree with that, and I'll give you a few reasons in a minute. But, I thought, well, I've had wood fires off and on most of my life, or known other people who have, and we've always put the wood right near the house. And in fact, up north where I live, it takes a lot more wood up there than it does down here in Virginia to heat your house, if you heat it just with wood. And I know houses up there that have 3 or 4 or 5 cords of wood stacked, and they have it stacked all around underneath of the eaves, or I've seen several houses that have covered porch in the front, and they have the wood stacked all the way to ceiling in the covered porch to keep it out of the weather. Or somebody who has a 1-story ranch with a carport on the end of it, the sort of thing I'm talking about, and they have all of their wood stacked in there underneath of the carport. It's everywhere in the north, so I just never even thought about this. So then I started thinking, well, maybe it's a southern thing, Maybe there's a lot more bugs down here than there is in the north, and maybe it is something that I need to be concerned about. I appreciate your input, and I don't know everything. I learn from you guys too. So I talked to a friend of mine down here who is a contractor, and he's been doing contracting for many years in this area. So I went and told him about it, and his response was almost explosive. He vehemently denied. He says, oh, I have to deal with that all the time. He said it's absolutely false, absolutely ridiculous. He said it's a wives' tale that's being perpetrated by HGTV. Well, I've never watched HGTV, so I don't know what he's talking about, but apparently some people on there have been talking about this. Whether you all have seen that or not, I have no idea, but he just said, I deal with it all the time. It's absolutely ridiculous. And he gave a half a dozen reasons why, and they were the same reasons that I have, that I don't think it's a big deal. So here we go. First of all, firewood, if it's properly cut and seasoned, doesn't have termites in it. If I would go out into the forest and find my own wood and cut my own wood, and I picked wood that was starting to rot and it had termites in it, then that would be one thing. But properly seasoned firewood is dry and it doesn't have termites in it. So when you stack it there, it actually takes a while for termites to start infesting that wood. If I would leave it there for 3 or 4 years, yeah, it might get termites in it. But I'm going to stack it there and then I'm going to burn it up in a season. No chance for termites to get in there. Also, it's going to be elevated up off of the ground, off of the dirt, so that would tend to put a halt on termites getting into it. Also, it's not going to be leaning right against the house, and even if it was, I have vinyl siding, so termites can't get through the vinyl siding. But it's not going to be leaning against the house. The wood stove's going to be out at least 6 inches or a foot away from the house. So even if there was wood or termites in the firewood, they would have to go down to the ground and then up the foundation to get into the house. And so I just don't think it's an issue. And as far as snakes and rodents and spiders and all that, spiders, you know, you have to be careful of spiders no matter where you stack the wood. If you go out there to bring it in, you could be bringing spiders into the house. You just have to always be aware of that. As far as snakes, I've had many, many pet snakes. Snakes don't bother me at all as long as they're not rattlers or moccasins or, you know, something like that. I've had many pet snakes. In fact, the last wood pile that we had in our little tiny house in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, I had quite a few snakes in there, and you know what they did? They kept the rodents down. So as far as snakes and rodents, if you have snakes, the only thing they do is control the rodents. So I'm not really concerned, because he echoed all of the same things same reasons that I have for thinking that it's not a problem. So I'm going to go ahead and build this wood stove. Now, if you think I'm wrong, you know, it's my wood pile. If I have problems with it, I can always move it. If you want to move it out further, your wood out further away from the house, you go right ahead and do that. If you want to have to deal with going 3 or 4 times as far in the middle of the winter when it's cold to get your firewood, by all means go for it. I'm going to keep it close where I can get to it easily, and like I said, if I have problems, then it's, you know, I'll have to deal with that. I'll have to move the woodshed later. But for now, I just don't believe it's a problem, and apparently many people in the north don't believe it's a problem. I don't know if it really is a problem here in the south or if it's just a wives' tale, but I'm going to go for it. So bear with me if you disagree. Let's agree to disagree. It's my woodshed. Okay, so here we go. Going to build this woodshed. Yes, I just thought about one other thing. A wood stacked against the house like that can possibly be a fire hazard if you live in the woods where there could possibly be, you know, a forest fire. You want to keep that kind of stuff and debris away from the house so that a forest fire that comes through is not going to catch that wood on fire, the cut firewood on fire, and possibly make your house burn down, make it more difficult to keep it safe. But I don't live in the woods. I mean, I got woods all around, but the house itself is sitting in the middle of an acre that's all grass. So that's not an issue here. So the woodshed is finished. I put this metal here on this side so that if there's any particularly violent storms and the wind and the rain blows around this corner, it'll keep the wood dry. I have just these 2x4 joists on the bottom, and the wood should be able to straddle that. I have thought a little bit about putting regular decking on there like that, you know, 5/4 board decking to put a floor in there, but it just adds extra expense. I'm not sure it's necessary because the logs will span that. Also, keeping it open like this will help it ventilate and keep it drier better. I also wanted to put some metal on this side, but when I went and bought this metal, Lowe's didn't have much. I bought everything they had and they were one piece short. So I put up what I had, and after they get more in stock, I'll put one more right there on that other end. I don't think this is as important because it's protected by the house, whereas the other one is over by the corner. So now I still need to clean out this area and build steps down from the deck right there. And yes, I'll put a railing on it so that I can come out of the door, down the steps, and have easy access to the wood pile. I like it. Now, when Elizabeth first saw the finished product of what I was doing here, it kind of messed with her head a little bit because the bottom, the floor, isn't level with the house. It follows the ground, and but I think it looks fine. It follows the contours of the ground. But you know, originally I was just going to put the wood on the ground and just lay 2x4s there just to lift it up a little bit off the ground. If I did that, the wood would have been following the ground level anyway. But then I decided to raise it up to get the wood off of the ground. It's never a good situation when it's sitting right on the dirt. And if I made it level, quite frankly, I would have just lost more storage space over there on this side because I'd have to raise that up. That just didn't make sense to me. So I went ahead and run with it the way it is. Looks fine to me, follows the level of the ground. So I hope you've enjoyed this project. Thanks for watching. Now all I have to do is fill it with firewood. All right, you be blessed. Live simple, live free. See you next time.